record the meeting. And again, we're going to change things up a little bit tonight. So if you can put your information, your introduction of yourself in the chat. And if you want to be on our email list, if you're not, then go ahead and add your email and let us know that you'd like to be added to that. So this is our May monthly meeting. And so I'm going to just skip by the normal introductions and announcements and attendance. And then as far as the agenda, I think we're going to start right into our action items with Lisa Strange from the California Department of Insurance. Do I have it right, Lisa?
Yes. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you now. So if you want to take it away, go right ahead.
Okay, thank you. Is there a way I can be enabled to share my screen?
Yes, Giselle can make it so you can.
I can help you with that, Lisa. Hang on. I got to go up here to you.
Sorry, I should
make you a co-host, and you should be able to share your screen.
Okay. All right. Do you guys see it?
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, thank you everyone for the opportunity to be here to share some updates on homeowners insurance. My name is Lisa Strange, and I get to serve as the Northern California Outreach Manager here at the Department of Insurance. And I know you've heard from us before. Your prior amazing liaison was Duria Syed, and we recently just underwent a slight reorg here in Northern Cal. And so I am happy to have Siskiyou County now. So with that, I wanted to just kind of give an update. And I kind of looked at the file to see what Duria had spoken to you about before. So if some of this is a little bit of review, just bear with me. I'll kind of go quickly so that we can get to the most current stuff. But I just want to make sure kind of I'm painting a big picture of what the department does and what we're doing around homeowners insurance. So first, I just wanted to share, that the department is a consumer protection agency for the nation's largest insurance marketplace. And so all of our functions, including overseeing insurer solvency, licensing agents and brokers, resolving consumer complaints, and investigating and prosecuting insurance fraud, are to protect consumers. It's important to know, though, the one thing we cannot do is require or compel insurance companies to sell insurance to a particular person or community. So we have lots of things we can do, but that is one that we cannot do. So as we're all aware of the stress on the insurance market right now created by natural disasters and global inflation. And this is not just happening here in California, but really every state is experiencing these factors to different degrees. Things like increased costs for rebuilding, labor shortages, and then, as we've seen, as risk increases, insurance companies are protecting their obligations to current consumers and limiting new business. And when they limit coverage because of major losses, whether it's wildfires or winter storms, it affects everyone, even folks in low risk areas. Tonight, after this presentation, I'm speaking to some folks in the Bay Area who don't understand why they're being non-renewed because they aren't in a wildfire area. So it really does affect everyone, even those of us in low risk areas just find it hard to get insurance. And so when you look at the market, 12 insurance groups control about 85% of the California insurance market. So take that in. That's 12 groups control 85% of the market. So since 2022 alone, 7 of those groups have paused or restricted new business despite rate increases approved by the Department of Insurance. And so that kind of goes to show that it's not just cost that's a factor in them non-renewing. And so because of that, we've been consistently monitoring and analyzing the status and the direction of insurance availability trends. And so a couple of things I wanted to share The FAIR plan, which I think we're all familiar with, has doubled to be 3% of the market now, which means it's kind of has become the insurer of first resort for many Californians, not the last resort as it was designed. And also important to note that the FAIR plan is not a state agency. It is run and funded by the insurance companies. So as you can imagine, a growing FAIR plan is a problem because FAIR plan policyholders first are required to pay more for less coverage, and concentrating the highest risk properties under the FAIR plan increase the chance that it will be unable to afford a catastrophic disaster. And then just another critical fact that I wanted to share kind of goes with what I said the Department of Insurance's role is. So unlike something like, let's say, public utilities, which are required to provide coverage to all residents and businesses, under Proposition 103, insurance companies can legally refuse to write insurance unless they are able to meet 100% of their consumers' claims and cover expenses and then earn a fair return. So everyone's will be harmed if an insurance company goes insolvent because then it cannot pay its claims. And so at the Department of Insurance, we really want to make sure that does not happen. And so we have introduced 2 regulations. This is probably one that Doria has spoken to you about. So I won't spend a whole lot of time on it. I can also send a link in the chat to read more about it. But this was approved in October 2022, and it's the Safer from Wildfire Framework, which essentially is a 3-step system to protect your home, surroundings, and your community. And under this regulation, we really expect to see, and we are seeing, more businesses, homeowners, and communities making investments in wildfire safety, which then in turn creates greater community resilience and reduced losses from wildfires. So again, I do think that she shared this with you, but it's kind of 3 parts. So the first part's pretty straightforward, and it's just ways to protect your home or your business. And some of those are listed here on the screen. And then step 2 is really to protect the immediate surroundings. And again, there are some mitigation efforts there. And then third is an effort to obtain a community level mitigation designation, which most likely involves at least 1, if not more, local government agencies. And you can get community level mitigation designations, which include a fire risk reduction community or a FireWise USA site in good standing. And so that's the Safer from Wildfire framework. And so when you do these steps, your insurance company will provide you a discount. And the FAIR plan, while they're not subject to this regulation, they are still offering discounts. And they have, in fact, offered a 10% discount on policies in participating FireWise communities since May of 2018. And now they are offering the discounts for the other 2, the structure and the immediate surroundings of your dwelling. And so when applied, those discounts could reduce the wildfire portion of your policy's premium by up to 14.5%. And so if you are on the FAIR plan, we're really encouraging homeowners to contact your broker and find out how you would qualify and then when you would receive the discount. Excuse me, sorry. Let's see. And then additionally, we've made some improvements with the FAIR plan. There hadn't been any increases in their coverage limits for, gosh, I don't know, maybe 2 decades. And so we made some improvements, reached an agreement with the FAIR plan. And so now their commercial coverage limit is 20 million per location. And so this really addresses the greater need for additional coverage for recreational youth camps, HOAs, wineries, and agricultural groups. And then the business owner policy limit has also increased to 20 million as well. So that just kind of helps that gap a little bit that was missing, because those limits before, I think, were 7.2 million or something like that, and now they're 20 million per location. And then another thing through this regulation is that insurance companies must provide you your wildfire risk score and let you know all the factors that went into creating it. We learned through all of our meetings, kind of like these, in 2022, that many consumers didn't know that your home or business was assigned a wildfire risk score. And insurance companies wouldn't provide that to us because they deemed it proprietary information. And so now through this regulation, they are required to provide you not only the score, but also the factors that went into creating it. So that's really important. And once you get that score, if you don't agree with it, you can appeal it to your insurer. And then once you get the response from them, if you're still not satisfied, then we would ask that you contact the Department of Insurance so that we can help figure out what's going on with that. And at the end of this, I'll have a screen up with our contact information for that. So that's kind of the regulation that, as I said, was approved 2022, and then a lot of 2023 was sort of the implementation of it, if you will. So now we're continuing to modernize the insurance market. And so we recently embarked on another packet of regulatory solutions, which is the California Sustainable Insurance Strategy. And so there are several actions and reforms that this packet will help. And so the first one is it's going to increase availability of insurance in wildfire distressed areas. So using the commissioner's prior approval rate authority, insurance companies will write no less than 85% of homes and businesses in wildfire distressed areas. And this is an absolute historic agreement between the department and insurance companies. This will reverse the trend of the growing FAIR Plan and kind of close that insurance gap that we talked about earlier. So that's really, really important. And then secondly, this will return FAIR Plan policyholders back to traditional insurance with first priority given to hardened homes and businesses following the Safer from Wildfire regulation. So that's kind of why I wanted to just review that again, even if you did hear it before. So sorry if you heard it before, but I just want to kind of refresh all of our minds so that this second part makes sense. And then let's see, third is we introduced utilization of forward-looking catastrophe models, which prioritize wildfire safety, mitigation, and transparency. So this regulation has several important benefits for consumers. These models will recognize the clear benefits of investments both our state and us as homeowners are making in wildfire safety, including the home hardening, fuel reduction, and prescribed fire. So insurance companies will increase their writing because they can better anticipate future losses rather than just non-renewing high-risk policyholders or pausing writing them altogether. So the way it is now is they use historical losses as they rate their premiums. And so this will be using forward-looking models instead. And we actually had a public workshop on this April 23rd. And so there was a chance for public comment and all of that. So we're moving forward on this piece. Let's see. And fourth is the use of is the allowance of California only reinsurance costs. And reinsurance is essentially insurance for insurers. And so what it kind of does is it insulates themselves from part of the risk of a major claims event. And so under this agreement, companies wishing to use these new risk assessment tools, they must agree to increase and maintain writing in the wildfire distressed areas of our state. So that was the 85% that I said on the first bullet here. So when companies agree and do that and write those 85% of homes, then they will be able to use these tools, the California only net reinsurance costs and the catastrophe models. And also with this agreement, it's very important that to know that it seeks California only net reinsurance costs. So that's California only rates. So we will not be paying for, let's say, East Coast hurricanes or Midwest tornadoes. California only. That's really important. And then finally, one of the things that this new strategy will also do is continue modernizing the FAIR plan by expanding the commercial coverage limits to 20 million per structure. So earlier I said that we increased those policy limits from 8.4 million to 20 million per location. With this, it will move 20 million per structure. So that even further closes gaps for some of our HOAs, affordable housing, and agribusinesses, because they too have been having a hard time finding coverage. So this is sort of the newest packet of reform that we are making to improve the marketplace. And the governor gave the commissioner an executive order to have these things done by December of this year. So we've already held 2 or 3 public workshops and heard from folks on the public comment period and all of that and draft regulations. So we're moving right along on this. And then just kind of lastly, I wanted to share some of our online tools on our website to help folks scour the marketplace. We have top 10 tips for finding residential insurance. And this gives kind of a summary of information and options available and kind of where to look and how to look if you were to receive a non-renewal notice or you're just looking for insurance. And then we also have a home insurance finder tool that can help you identify companies writing in high-risk regions to help you narrow down your search. And then it gives you contact numbers for licensed agents and brokers in the area. And then lastly, just wanted to reiterate that the department is here to help answer questions about any line of insurance. So tonight we're talking about homeowners insurance, but we also regulate many other lines of insurance. And so I also want to say that when we receive a question about a non-renewal from consumers like all of us, we need to look at the specifics. So you might be asked to file a complaint so that we can write to your company, obtain their renewal guidelines to see if the non-renewal is compliant with their own guidelines. So really important to give us a call if you receive a non-renewal or have any questions. And I've kind of been telling folks, we really want you to do this for 2 reasons. One, because we want to help. And also that is how we learn what the trends are and what the insurance companies might be doing or might not be doing. So we need to hear from you to learn what's happening out there. So please, please, please give us a call. The 1-800 number is listed here. It's 927-4357, which is also help. And then we also have a consumer live chat feature on our website if you prefer to do it by writing. And then you can visit our website there as well, which is where you can find some of those informational guides and other resources that we have. So that kind of concludes my presentation, and I'm happy to take any questions or comments if you've got any. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. That was really informative. That helped me get some answers But there's a couple of questions we'll start within the chat. And one is, are the insurance companies restricted to a limit to what they can increase the annual premium? And is there a percentage increase allowed?
Okay, that's a great question. And actually, I was remiss. I should have shared that in my presentation when I talked about the new sustainable insurance strategy, because that's also one of the other pieces that that strategy is doing, which is making the rate filing plan packet, if you will. So when insurers do submit a new rate filing plan with us, this sustainable insurance strategy will be very specific in terms of what it is they have to submit to us, so that that approval process will be quicker. So I wanted to share that piece real quick. And then also within that, what it will do is spell out the instructions better, because right now it says that if you request more than a 6.9 is the cap. If you request more than that of an increase, then I think the law says something like you may go to a hearing if the increase is intervened. And then if you go to a hearing, it takes a long time and it's expensive and the insurance company pays for it. So they always shy away from asking for the amount that they really need to remain solvent, because they're afraid that they would go to a hearing and then take forever and have to pay those fees if that rate increase was intervened. So they don't do that. But so what they do is they ask for the 6.9%, turn in their packet, takes us however many months to review and approve that. And then they get back in line with another packet for another under 6.9% increase to, as I said, to get where they need to be to remain solvent. And so all that takes time. So rather, if they could just sort of get in line, if you will, with the 14, 15%, whatever it is they deem that they need to remain solvent in one packet, then it's smoother for everyone. So those are all part of the changes that we're making as well with the rate filing plans and timelines. So I hope that answers the question.
Okay, Stephen Decatur, do you want to ask your question? I don't have to read them for everybody.
Yeah, I can ask mine. So my question was about the Safer from Wildfires program, those different things that you can do for a discount. Do you have to do them all, or can you do some of them to receive a discount? And then also, sorry, there's another part to that question, which is if you can do parts of them, is there like a listed discount amount or range that you would expect from doing that item? I'm just trying to think of ways that I could, promote this and show people what they could do and give them a better idea of what they could get.
Sure, those are great questions. So, and I have a kind of a two-part answer. So if you are with the FAIR plan, because remember, the FAIR plan isn't subject to these mitigation regs. However, they are still giving us discounts if we do the work. But due to their system constraints, their discounts are all or none. So, and let me explain this. So you get the Firewise, if you're part of a Firewise community, you get that discount up to 10%. But then for the structure, you have to do all the things listed for the structure. So all or none for the structure, all or none for your surroundings for discounts for the FAIR plan. They are working on an upgraded system that allows them to put in more than 2 discounts. So once they get that, then they will be able to do individual mitigation discounts. So that's with the FAIR plan. For traditional insurance companies, they give discounts for each thing is not a good word, sorry, each mitigation effort that you do. And so kind of for that, and you will see, we have a one pager that kind of explains it a little better, but it's basically do more, save more. So that is what's with the insurance companies. And then the regulation states, it says that the insurance companies must, so I'll paraphrase, but basically, they must tell you, oh, I wish I could find, give me just 1 second. They must tell you, um, yeah, so insurance companies are required to let you know what mitigation effort, so they have to tell you what the mitigation effort is that you're doing and what discount you will realize by doing that. So so yes, you would be able to find that out ahead of time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Glenn, you were up. You had a question up. You want to ask it?
Sure, thanks. Hi, Lisa. Thank you for all this information. It's very helpful. One of the items you mentioned was that the insurance companies would be required to cover 85% of the households in a distressed area. Just out of curiosity, what percentage is considered covered currently?
That is a great question, and that's one that I actually have into my executive team, but I don't have an answer yet. I
Okay.
can get when I get it, I will share it with your group though. I
Thank
have that. Yeah, definitely. Thank you for asking that.
Okay, Jay, Millie, you had follow-up question to your original one. Do you want to go ahead and ask it?
Yeah, I hope you can hear me here.
Mhm.
So our premium 2 years ago was $3,700. These are rounded numbers, and it's the same company, same house. 2 years ago, see, 2 years ago, a year ago, I guess it would be, no, 2 years ago, it doubled, $7,500. And then this last time it went to $9,500, all the same insurance company. And we spent $15,000 on mitigation efforts. And we had one of the groups come by, I can't remember which one it was, but they came by and reviewed the property and gave us an A+ rating. It doesn't seem like it did any good whatsoever. I just want to know if there's any limit to what these insurance companies can do with their increases. And now I'm concerned that they're going to drop us because, you know, the ex-fire chief across the street got his policy canceled. So if he gets canceled, you know, what's the rest of us going to do?
Yeah, we hear about that. Obviously, it's good. We all have great neighbors and we're all very neighborly. So we talk to our neighbors, right? And then we hear these different scenarios and then we begin to worry, or we get mad because my next door neighbor's house has much more growth, but they have an insurance policy for cheaper than mine, or they didn't get canceled and I did. So we're all kind of comparing stories, and it's good, but also very frustrating. And so what I really encourage folks to do is give us a call on that toll-free number, because then we can take a look at your policy and just make sure that they are following all of the underwriting guidelines that they've set forward and that you're getting all the proper discounts that you should be getting. Because I would want to make sure that you received your wildfire risk score and that you agree with it. And if not, we can help you appeal that with your insurance company and kind of go from there to first make sure that you're being charged the correct rate and go from there. So please feel free to contact our hotline so we can look into that for you.
Did that help answer your question?
Well, yes, it did.
Yes.
It did, and I will get the score. But it is frustrating to see that these companies can charge these outrageous rates or make these increases so rapidly. You know, a fire happens, and the next year we either get our insurance doubled, the premium cost doubled, or they drop us. This is a very reputable firm, one of the top firms, I'm sure. And you know, my question would be: has Lisa seen these kind of increases, and is there any restriction on the companies on how much they can increase, or is this what we're going to have to live with?
Yeah, I know it's really hard, and I'm kind of hopeful. I'm not kind of, I am hopeful that the especially the forward-looking catastrophe modeling sort of helps set some more affordable premiums for us by looking forward and not using historical losses as they rate us. So I'm really hopeful that that makes a considerable difference for us.
Yeah, Lisa, I'm sure you hear this up and down the state. So what we're experiencing here is probably not new to you, but going from 3,000 to 9,000 is pretty much, I've heard that the last probably 3 months a lot in our area. And as you may know, we're not the most affluent county in the state. So those kind of increases hurt our citizens, I think, a lot. Well, they hurt them a lot and maybe more than other affluent areas.
Yeah.
Jamie, Peggy Risch has her hand up.
Okay, Peggy.
Thank you. So I live here in Mount Shasta, and I have spoke with my insurance agent and was told that it's possible as early as next year that 130 days before our policy gets renewed, we'll get a request to get a certificate from the wildfireprepare.org. And I've looked at that, and those requirements, I guess you're calling them mitigations, are extensive. They are like a total reversal of the way that individuals in rural communities like Mount Shasta have basically, planted their landscaping and their trees, and it will be extremely expensive. So my question to the state is my understanding is, and correct me here, is that the State Department of Insurance is actually supporting this wildfire prepare certification process. So that's my first question. Is that true? And it seems really drastic. And the timeline to actually basically, if you fail that certification, to basically comply with all those quote mitigations is an unreasonable amount of time. And basically, if you don't, my policy will be dropped. So so question, is that true? Is the state supporting this plan? Two, what is the state doing to try to make this more reasonable for rural areas, especially in the timeline, to comply with these mitigations? And for the state to understand, these costs are fully unreasonable for most people living here, as someone said, in Siskiyou County, to comply in order to get insurance. So you're forcing many of us in the rural areas into this fair plan. So is the state? Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for your question, Peggy. And I've also heard people share what you just shared, and then they're telling me that, part of the reason they live where they live, wherever that might be, is because they want trees, they want the prettiness, right? And now if they have to cut it all down to get this certificate, it's depressing and sad. And so we are still in conversation. I've heard about it. I don't know if the state's supporting it. I do know, though, that there are certain towns where they have an ordinance where they do want you to get that certification. And some of it are using the IBHS certification. So it's the Insurance Institute for Business and Home Safety cert. And I think the town of Paradise is one that's doing that. And then I believe there's a fee to apply for that certificate, but there was a period of time where they had I don't know, the first 20 people to sign up or something like that, the fee was waived, and then you could apply for that cert. And then once those number of spots were taken, and it costs $100 or $200 to apply to get that cert, you pay it, and then you're denied the cert. So we hear a lot of this. I don't know where it's all coming from. I don't know when it's going to be effective, but we are telling folks, if your insurance company is telling you you need to get this certification, then we want to hear from you about that. Especially, as I said, we're hearing that people are paying to get it, and then and they've done all this work, spent all this money, and they're still being denied getting that cert, and then their insurance company is threatening to drop them. So those are exactly what we need to hear from you about, and so we can sort of track this trend and figure out what this all is. So so please, if you've been told by your insurance company you need to do some mitigation, pay money, you don't get a discount, and in fact maybe facing a non-renewal, please let us know.
Okay, thank you. Then we had another question in the chat. What is the FAIR plan?
Okay, that's a good question. So as I said, the FAIR plan is it's funded by, so it's like a pool. So it's funded by insurance companies, established in 1968 after the Watts riots, because no one would insure homes after that. And so it's a pool run and funded by insurance companies, and it's expensive coverage. And it's just for, I think it's fire, lightning, and smoke. And then when you're on that, we encourage folks to buy a wraparound policy to make sure that you have complete coverage against other perils. So I don't know if does that kind of help. So it's insurance, but it's designed to be last resort insurance and is run and funded by insurance companies.
Joseph, did that answer your question?
Yes, it did. Thank you very much.
All right. And then I had another one that's been up for a while from Josh. Josh asks, are you the good point of contact to field future insurance questions from homeowners? And if so, can you post your email address or phone number?
You guys can certainly reach out to me, but for specific questions, we do encourage you to call the hotline, just because they really are the experts on all the laws, all the nuances. They have the ability to have you fill out a complaint form, sign it. They can write to the insurance company, get the information back, review things and all of that. So really, the consumer hotline is the best number, but you can always feel free to reach me too. And my email address is my name. So it's lisa.strange@insurance.ca.gov.
Thank you. And Dave McAdams, you had your hand up?
I just wanted to kind of go back again. You were talking about that you're hoping that the insurance companies will change the way that they look at areas, not backwards, but forward looking.
Mhm.
And it kind of reminds me of when I used to work for a very major manufacturing corporation, where when we had personal injuries and they had the workers' comp, our insurance would skyrocket with the more filings that we had. When we did the mitigation, when we did the stuff to prevent worker injuries, our insurance rates came back down. Now, as the individuals within Siskiyou County start applying these mitigation standards and less and we mitigate some of these fire damage, will we start seeing the rates start coming back down?
That is the intent. Absolutely, Dave. Yes.
Yeah, so they really want to.
Okay, Kristen had her hand up next.
Hi, Lisa. This is Kristen, Giselle's administrative assistant. That's been on email with you. Sorry, I was late for getting on the meeting, picking up my kids. So maybe this already came up in the discussion, but what I hear a lot at the outreach events in the community that I do is there's kind of what Peggy was illuminating, that there's this vast discrepancy between CAL FIRE, coming and doing their evaluations and hanging the little checklist on your door handle that says you passed, you're good, and you know, all of these new mitigation requirements for insurance purposes. And so it's, you know, people, it's kind of like a whiplash effect, I guess. You know, people said, well, CAL FIRE said I was fine, and now I'm being told I have to do $10,000 of mitigation on my property. And so that was just one caveat I wanted to bring up. And then, and I don't, you know, it's kind of neither here nor there. There's, you know, I don't know if you have any response to that, but the other thing that just came up is listening to you. I guess I didn't realize actually that the FAIR plan is run by insurance companies. I thought it was a state run program. And so what clicked in my head is like, well, wait a minute, is there some sort of like conflict of interest here? Well, like these insurance companies are funneling, you know, pushing people off their plans and, you know, forcing them onto the FAIR plan, which they also then run and benefit and profit from. I don't know. I mean, maybe that's just a very naive, simplistic perception of it, but that just thought came up in my head. I'm like, huh, that seems kind of strange. I thought it was a state run program.
It's funded by insurance companies. And so I think it's important to know that if we keep funneling people to the FAIR plan, and then we do have another big disaster, when the FAIR plan policyholders are paid out, that would then in turn, it's going to affect the insurance companies because they're partially funding that as well. So if you've got all these people on the FAIR plan and there is a disaster, and then they have to pay out all those claims, that affects the insurance companies as well. So I don't think that that's what, you know, and again, the FAIR plan was, I mean, I think it's got 350,000 policyholders in it right now. It was not designed to be that way. It was designed as the insurer of last resort, because again, it's not even a comprehensive policy, right? It's just covering those perils that we talked about earlier. And so it definitely is, a growing FAIR plan definitely is a problem and not something that anyone wants to see, especially given if we were to have another disaster and have to pay out all those monies for claims, that would, in turn, affect the insurance companies as well.
Yeah, that is interesting. I didn't know the history of it, but you know, how it was started, and that it's way out of range of what the original intent and capacity was. Yeah.
Yes. And that's why also, we've got so many complaints, sadly, about people not being able to get through to them and just all the things. And I'm not defending them, but that's truly because they were not designed to handle this volume. I think at the end of 2023, they hired 76 more people just to handle their volume, because there are so many folks calling and trying to get quotes, butting up against escrow to try to buy a home, but trying to get the quote. And, it's been a mess. And then because they aren't subject to the mitigation regulation, but are still trying to, complying and giving discounts, their system wasn't really set up for that. So then they got a new computer system. And so they're setting that up to accept all of these mitigation discounts that we've been talking about this evening. So it's been a giant growing pain for them. I am hearing that folks can get through on the phone now within a more reasonable amount of time. Quotes are being given to folks more reasonable amount of time. So I'm hoping that things are getting better there. And then I hope that they continue getting better as insurance companies begin to write policies for us again. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I was surprised. I can't even remember what fire it was. At an outreach event, a fire victim who lost their home in a fire in the, it was definitely in the last 5 years. Here in Siskiyou County was on the FAIR plan when they lost their home, and they actually had rave reviews of their experience, their claim, and everything they dealing with the FAIR plan. So I was pleasantly surprised to hear that, for whatever it's worth.
Yeah, great. Well, it can only go up from here, folks. We've got a lot of good stuff in the works. And as I said, this newest plan of all the things that we're going toward, came to us as an executive order by the governor to get this done in 1 year's time. And that was last December. So we are aiming to get all of these things complete by December of this year. I would say with a caveat, after approved and our part is done in December, then there is probably an implementation period for the insurance companies to implement what's been approved. But we are working toward availability and affordability of homeowners insurance for all of us.
All right, and I just wanted to ask Peggy, you had a couple more comments, follow-up comments. Do you want to express them?
Sure, thanks. It was just, do you know if the state has any funding or grant programs currently to help residents do these mitigations, or is that part of the strategy for this coming December 2024 completion?
No, Peggy, that's a great question. And I am embarrassed to say I have not looked. We have a grant portal on our website. I'll put the link in the chat, but I am embarrassed to say I haven't looked at it in about 2 months. So I'm not familiar with any grants that are currently open. But let me put that link there for you all. And then what I want to say to that is if as a fire safe council or any other organization that you might be part of in addition to this one, if you do apply for a grant, the Department of Insurance is happy to write a support letter for you in support of that grant. And I can be the contact to help facilitate that letter. Or those letters, plural, if you write more than one.
That's great. Thank you for that, Lisa. That's good to know that you can be there for support. And Peggy, we don't know from the Fire Safe Council standpoint, we don't have any specific individual grants that we know of that you can apply for as a resident yourself. But there is numerous grants in the county right now going on to address this issue. And we have one, and the Shasta Valley RCD is working on one, and there's others out in the county happening.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Do I have any other questions for Lisa? Okay, if not, I would really like to thank Lisa for coming tonight. I know some of these can be tough situations because people are feeling the heat financially and physically, and changes are about, and that's always hard to get. So really thank you, Lisa, for coming tonight. We hope you will return. In
Yes,
the
thank you,
future.
Lisa. This is Giselle. So
My
yeah.
pleasure. Please know that just because
Another question just popped in, or they said another person, David and Maggie said they have one more question.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed that. Thanks, Kristen. David and Maggie?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, good, thank you. So this is Maggie, obviously. I'm very new to all of this. I just learned last week that there was even a Department of Insurance at the state. So, but I've looked into the certification process that the insurance companies are putting out, and there just seems to be such a disconnect between what all the different players are saying. And I'm wondering, is the state going to have any oversight or input or say about the requirements for this quote unquote certification? Because, in our case, it would cost tens of thousands, if not more, to comply. I drive down my street and I just cannot imagine being in compliance with those regulations. In the city, it would be millions, if not more, of dollars to do that. And I totally get that we need to mitigate fire risk, and we live in a high risk area. We're willing to do that. But there's no way it's going to happen in a matter of months. There's just no way. It's impossible. So
Maggie, are you talking about the wildfire prepared cert that I think
yes,
Peggy brought that up? Okay. Let me, as I think I mentioned when Peggy brought it up, it is something that's being talked about at a level above me, but I will kind of figure out where we are on that. And if I may, I'll circle back with Giselle, who can kind of share out that information with all of you. Would that be acceptable?
sure, yeah.
Okay.
It just seems like there needs to be some interface between
Mhm.
all the players in that realm.
Yes, yes. I will look into that. And then just to make sure I have all my action items, I'm also going to look into what percent is covered now. I mentioned that with the new regulation, insurance companies would need to insure 85% of their book of business with wildfire areas. And someone asked what percent's covered now. So I will get that answer over, and then let me find out some more information on the wildfire prepared certificate program, and I'll circle back with Giselle or Kristen on that to share out to all of you.
Okay,
So-
thank you very much.
Maggie, make sure you put your email, if we don't have it already, in the chat, so we can add you to our email list so we can get that information to you.
Okay, I will. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Maggie.
Again, thanks a lot, Lisa. We really appreciate you being here.
My pleasure. And if there's, after my time is coming to an end tonight here, but that doesn't mean I go anywhere. So if there are questions after tonight or, anything that you need, please either reach out to me or call our consumer hotline if it's a more kind of specific question about your own policy, and we're here to help. Thank you.
Great, thanks. All right, and for those people who came in a little bit late, if we didn't do our normal round of introductions, so if you could introduce yourself in the chat program, and if you're not on our email list, add your email to that, if you would, please. And that was a lot of great information. And I know it's a hot topic because it affects everybody in all kinds of ways. So we'll keep bringing that information to you as we get it. So for our agenda tonight, I haven't seen him. Did Clint Isbell able to get on? I don't think I saw him come in the room.
Hey, Jake, he said that he was unaware he was supposed to talk tonight and had an obligation with baseball, so he was going to try and jump in if he made it, but I don't think he's on. So yeah, he said he'll try and give an update here as soon as he gets a minute.
Okay, thanks, Josh.
We could get one then from you, Josh, or do you have any information on this subject?
On the crisis
Yeah.
landscapes, well, I mean, there's a lot going on there. I hesitate. I'm not real prepared to talk about a lot of that.
Alrighty then.
I'm actually at a little league game myself, about to get started, but yeah, no. So they have a full team, and they've been doing some kind of roadshow discussions with folks on grant writing opportunities, and I know Clint's been extremely busy with that. I know they have rolled out a huge program of work for the fiscal year for the government for the Klamath Basin, and of course that's put pretty much all of our folks in a pretty giant workload of trying to get things executed through grants and agreements and contracting, and they've been doing a lot of modeling and looking at areas where they can do good work, and where we should be doing good work around communities, and for the right reasons. So I mean, it's a big lot of money, big program going on with that crisis. So I mean, I'll have really great specifics to talk to you about. I know that for me, I got like $400,000 of funds to hire folks for burning this spring. So we're looking forward to that. That's exciting for being able to bring outside resources in or beef up our staffing to help us get more work done. So that was really, really helpful because everything does cost now. So that's kind of my update for basin there, if that helps. Like I said, I think he'll probably try and get on the next meeting. A little more awareness of heads up for him. I know I'm sitting in for Jen Erickson. She's in Guam doing a fire training. She got selected to help them, so she's several days behind or ahead there. And we'll be back in a couple weeks with some more travel. So she's out, and she asked me to sit in for her. And you know, for us, we do have quite a few burns planned on the forest. We're starting to finally hit a window here where we think we can get dry enough. The weather's been kind of messing with us. We've been almost close enough to go, and then it'll rain or something again. So fortunate weather, but not real good weather for burning. But this next 10 days or so, the meteorologist and everybody's shaping up for us, looking real good. So I think we'll be successful. The places we're targeting are on the Scott Salmon, the Scottsboro Mountain, the probably as early as Monday. Goose Nest, maybe over in that Shallows Cascades, Erickson, First Creek stuff, maybe towards the end of next week. And then down in Happy Camp, there's a Cade Mountain burn they're looking at. That'll probably be closer to June. So that's kind of on the horizon for burning for the Forest Service. We're pretty much done with pile burning. And then, you know, all of our onboarding stuff's been going on. We haven't really done real good, to be frank. You know, we sat in a cooperators meeting yesterday, and it sounded like the Shasta Trinity is doing real good on their staffing, and some of Cal Fire's beefing up their staffing, which is, of course, taking some of our folks. But we look like right now 9 of 12 engines staffed at 5-day effective for the summer. So that's probably the shortest we've been in a while. 1 of 4 water tenders, 1 of 3 10-person crews. So we're short on those. The 2 hotshot crews are going to be fully funded, and then 1 type 2 20-person crew out of Happy Camp. So we're looking good on those. We do have a dozer staff 7 days. Trying to have an additional dozer on board. We did get funding from the region to hire a fuels equipment module over on supervised on the Goose Nest. So, you know, in theory, we're gonna have a dozer out of Wairika and a dozer out of Goose Nest for the fire season. So that'll be good. 15 patrols. Siskiyou Airport's gonna have a mobile retardant plant. There should be a Type 1 helicopter starting in July there for us. Scott Valley will have 2 Type 3 helicopters. Air attacks coming on June 1st. We have a detailed forest supervisor and a detailed deputy forest supervisor with no word on when they're going to hire. The non-fire side of things in the Forest Service is in a hiring freeze, so that's been tough on us since Rachel left. So we're hopeful to hear some news on that. Hope maybe in June and sometime in the summer have somebody in place. We're losing 2 division chiefs, 1 retiring, 1's leaving to DOI, so we're gonna have to be backfilling those. Losing 1 of our battalions to hotshots, and 1 to the DOI. So flying details behind all those folks, and hoping for the best with recruitment. So I think those are kind of my notes that I wanted to share with you guys, and be glad to try and take any questions before I head out to the Coach the Little League game here.
Thanks, Josh. Thanks for the update, and sorry for putting you on the spot for the basin crisis strategy landscape. And tell Clint, yeah, we'd like to have him at the next meeting. We would really appreciate that.
For sure. Yeah. Yep. And I know he'll be ready for it, being as I keyed him into this meeting about whatever 2 hours ago, and he was kind of blank stared me. So I'll make sure he knows when the next one is.
Okay. Thank you, Josh.
You bet.
Next on our agenda is our Community Wildfire Defense Grants, our CWDG grant update. And the first thing we'll do on that update is Diane Lynn is the new Corps manager. So if you would like to introduce yourself, Diane, to the group.
Hi, everybody. I'm Diane Lynn. I'm the new project coordinator for Corps for the wildfire education and outreach, and I'll be working with Josh Bean. Just a little background on myself. I come with a background of over 18 years working for a local municipality in the Bay Area. where I was the environmental coordinator for a city of almost 30,000. My background there included outreach event planning, education and public outreach. I did content writing, webpage creation, social media and communications, oversight of environmental grants, and a lot of collaboration working with San Mateo County on pilot programs, campaigns, and public outreach. So I'm really excited to be a part of this project and this team and to get started. So I'm happy to be here.
Well, welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you.
We're glad to have you join the group. All right, so now next on, for the CWDG update, Giselle, do you have anything?
Well, we're moving right along. We're letting folks know about it at several different outreaches that Kristen and Josh have already been to. And every time we're on a Zoom with anybody that cares, we let them know what's going on. We're developing a matrix to point out what are our highest priorities in underserved communities, and we've been working on that. And we've got all of our grants and agreements in place and subawards, and all the paperwork is, I think, pretty much finalized. So we're moving, picking up speed, I hope. And we'll be getting this out on the ground soon as we identify folks. And that's kind of where we're at with that. Josh, do you have anything to add?
But before Josh, just a reminder for everybody, CORE is our subcontractor partners that we're working with, and Josh and Diane are our CORE representatives.
Thanks, Jamie. Yeah, we're starting to get our feet on the ground and figure out how we're going to navigate this and getting oriented with the project. The fireside training next week is very excited. That's the software that we're going to be utilizing for home assessments. So that's real good news. And just to anybody out there that I haven't met with that has active projects going on in Siskiyou County, reach out to me. I'll put my email there in the chat.
All right.
Okay, thank you very much. And before I move on, Brian, you said Joseph Rodarmi, did I get that right? He would like to introduce himself at the next meeting?
Yeah, he wanted to be on this meeting, but he had something come up, but he'd like to be on the next meeting. I dropped his email in the chat there. If you could add him to your list, he wants to be engaged.
Okay,
Brian,
great.
tell us who he is.
Joseph Rodarm is the new district ranger for the SHMU behind Carolyn Napper.
So Giselle, could you put him on the agenda so we could give him a few moments of time?
Will do.
Thank you. Thanks, Brian, for letting us know. All right, so CAL FIRE update. I saw Susie Brady sneak in there. And who else is here? Susie, are you with us? Susie, are you there? All right, we'll come back to Susie.
Oh, Susie put in the chat, she's saying that it won't let her chat. So I think she might be having like mic issues or something, and she can't, or no, yeah, something's not right. So maybe we'll come back to her.
Okay. Josh gave us his Forest Service update. Josh Mollenberger. Do we have?
Go ahead.
Do we have anything for the Shasta Valley RCD?
Well, we have the SHMU. We have Brian Murphy.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, Brian. I talked to you and then I just went right over the top.
That's fine. Don't worry about it. I do have a short update prepared. So I'm Brian Murphy. I'm the fuels planner for the SHMU on the Shasta Trinity. I got a
sorry, Brian, just for people who are on here that don't know Forest Service acronyms, could you say what?
Sure. The SHMU is the Shasta McCloud Management Unit, so the northernmost unit of the Shasta Trinity National Forest. And I don't have a forest-wide update for you guys, but I do have a district update that's relevant to Weed, Mount Shasta, and Dunsmuir. Our local fire shop has got 6 engines, 3 patrols, a water tender, and a dozer. They're on a mix of 5 and 7 day staffing as of now. They're building up their ranks, hiring, training. Staffing should increase when we are fully staffed up. The seasonal outlook, the snow levels are good for this time of year. As most of you probably know, we're below average for the ERC as well as the burning index. Our live fuel moistures are on their way up with the green up, and the Northops 4-month outlook is for a slow start to the fire season. So no time to get complacent, but it's been a kind of warm, wet winter and a nice, moist spring so far. We had a really successful field trip this morning at McBride. It was a prescribed fire field trip put on by a few of our folks, and I know promoted by you guys as well as the Pacific Forest Trust folks. That went really well. I know I saw a couple of you there. And then we had a really successful prescribed burn out on the flats. Last week, the Pilgrim Plantation burn, we got 550 acres burned. We used a drone for aerial ignitions, which was a first for us. It went really well. It felt like looking at the future. So no more burns on the horizon for us, at least none planned right now, unless we see a window we can't resist. And that's my update, unless anyone has any questions.
No, I actually, Giselle and I will be out there at those, out at McLeod tomorrow, with the Pacific Forest Trust. So looking forward to that.
Great. Yeah, if you go out Pilgrim Creek Road, you'll see, you can't miss it.
Okay, thanks, Brian. Okay, Shasta Valley RCD update. Do we have anybody? It's hard to when you get so many people on here.
Julie or Jamie, I think I have voice now. It's Susie.
Oh, okay, Susie, go for CAL FIRE.
Sorry about that, guys.
Sorry.
So just a really quick rundown. I just talked to Jeremy Johnson. He says the grants that were turned into the region will not be awarded till after budget fiscal year, which would be July 1st. So that's when we'll hear about those grants. We are starting to do our staffing levels, getting ready for fire season. Our 3rd round of hires will come on in June. I believe it's June 3rd. We are going to have a type 1 that will be staffed out at Siskiyou Airport again. That should come on June 13th. Besides that, everything is status quo. We are going to be doing some more prescribed burns. We're looking at North Shore for those Mount Shasta folks and Dunsmuir folks. At the end of the month, they don't have an exact date, obviously due to weather and that kind of stuff, but they're shooting for the week of the 20th. Once we get more confirmed date, I will be pushing out information via our social media as well as notifications down there to the folks. Besides that, Jamie, we don't really have anything pertinent different than last month if anybody has any questions for us.
Okay, permits.
May 1st permits were required. You do go online now. All permits are online at burnpermits.com. You just go to fire.ca.gov and you'll just click burn permits. If you have a problem with the burn permits, feel free, reach out to me, give me a call and we'll work through it. We have written some hand ones due to locations of folks and the computer system not working correctly. So if you guys have problems, feel free to reach out. But yeah, we're always here to help if you need it.
Okay, great. Yeah, somebody just asked me this morning if that said they heard that burn permits were all canceled, and I went, I don't think so. So thank you for that, Susie. Okay, Orcal RCD. Siskiyou Prescribed Burn Association. I don't see Patty here tonight. Okay, Scott River Watershed Council. Mount Shasta Bioregional Ecology Center. And Siskiyou County OES. We have, okay. Well, we're moving right through then. And Supervisor Nancy Ogren, I know I saw Nancy's name here.
Yeah, I'm here, but I'm going to be quiet too. I don't have much to report, luckily.
Yeah, okay, thanks, Nancy. Red Cross, do we have Red Cross here tonight? Pacific Power. And NRCS, James, not here. Wow, we're going through these quick. Eric is here for Siskiyou County Air Quality. Sheriffs, nope. All right, CHP and Siskiyou County Natural Resources update and Stevens Wyden Amendment. Anything, Giselle?
Well, I think it closed it closed before we knew it was open. Brian could probably tell you more about that. Do you know, Brian, weren't you the one that told me it was already closed?
Yeah, it's closed. It came out late this year, kind of caught us all off guard, and we didn't have any proposals on the shelf that we felt like we could really run with in the amount of time. There's a million other things happening at that same time, so it just kind of got lost in the wash, I suppose.
Okay. And then local fire safe council updates. Before we move on to those, though, I just noticed making sure I cover everybody. Matt from CORE, did you want to add anything to what we had said earlier?
No, Jamie, I don't have anything today. Nina was unable to join. She's down in Imperial County with meeting with the EPA. So I'm just standing in for Nina for now. I think Josh covered everything. You know, we're excited to get the matrix going. Training's going to be great. And then now that we have Diane, they can hit the ground running.
Yeah, great.
So,
Thanks, Matt. Okay, so Black Mountain.
Yeah, hi, everybody. I just wanted to say hi. I haven't been on the last few meetings, and I just want to say a quick hi to everybody. I have a quick few updates. I've been going around doing a lot of fuel reductions through here, through KRCE, and also down in Big Springs, some in Lake Chastina. Been going around doing a lot of fuel reduction work on the side. Doing a lot of weed eating for people with our grasses growing a lot everywhere in the county. So I've been helping everybody I can lately. And one other quick update, I got good news for Hornbrook with our dam removal scenario going on. Hornbrook Water Board, I just found out approximately about a month ago that the Hornbrook Water Board has finally moved forward to write some grants, and they got a few grants accepted to rebuild some new water systems for the community of Hornbrook due to the water board sheds that we lost back in the Klamathon fire. So they are moving forward with that to get some new water storage tanks and water sheds built behind the Hornbrook Cal fire. So that's great news to finally get our water system and here in KRCE and Hornbrook back up to par. So that I think will totally help with our fire suppression needs with having water supply and that kind of deal. So that is a huge plus. And other than that, I'm just keep moving along with doing a lot of people are concerned about the dam removal and the water issues and our upcoming fire seasons with not having the dam. So I've been trying to just go along and help everybody out I can to get everybody fire safe.
Great.
And that's about all I have.
Okay, thanks, Joseph. That's great news about those grant funding that they got. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Butte Valley, Copco Lake, Dunsmuir.
I have an update for Dunsmuir.
Great, Stephen. Hi, how you doing?
I'm good. So we had our Green Waste Day, our Spring Green Waste Day this past weekend. We picked the wettest possible time we could possibly have it. But it was a big success. We ended up doing 3 full roll-off dumpsters of green waste. So that was really good. We also are kicking off our FireWise certification for our whole community. We're going to be attempting to do the whole fire district, Dunsmuir Fire District. So that'll include all the way up from Mont, all the way down to the county line. So that is started now. If you are in Dunsmuir or you know anyone in Dunsmuir who knows all their neighbors, we're looking for neighborhood captains. So feel free to have them reach out to me or reach out to me directly. And you can ask me more about that, and I'm happy to fill you in on the details, but I'll put my email in the chat.
Okay. Great. I heard it was a big success, even though it was rainy and cold. Greater Weed, Hammond Ranch.
Hi, it's Marushka.
I'm
Hi, how are you? Sorry I missed last month's meeting. I was out of the country, but I'm back and better than before. And listened in on the recording earlier this morning. We're really appreciative at the board at Hammond Ranch that Kristen's agreed to join our meeting next week and share more about the becoming a Firewise community. I think I got that right. I'm happy to report one thing that's happening on the ranch, which is that Eric Ziller, our board president, has gotten an agreement with CAL FIRE to help residents of Hammond Ranch with chipping if they're able to do all their piles, and if I'm understanding it all correctly, it would be early June. So we're supposed to spread the word to the neighbors, whether or not they're HLA members. It's for the whole community.
Yeah. Good news.
Well, that will be very helpful with the Firewise application. So we'll have to get the metrics and track that data when that happens, because that, yeah, and actually we'll have to, yeah, we might need to hustle and get the application in before then so that it can count.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we really appreciate your willingness to join next week. Thank you.
Yeah, we're learning as we go with, thank goodness for Stephen down in Dunsmuir taking that on, and it's the first Firewise community in Siskiyou County. So it's, it's new for all of us, and we're figuring it out as we go. And so
and I was interested
they're
to learn
paving the way for everyone else. So
I was interested to learn in last week's or in the recording that it only takes a minimum of eight people, 8 neighbors, and they don't have to border each other. Is that true?
Right. Yeah. They don't have to share property boundaries, and other people can join once it's established, but just to get it started, it just takes that minimum of 8. And yep.
Thank
so
you.
that shouldn't be hard. So yeah, we're looking forward to next Tuesday.
Maybe you put a little fire in our bonnet, whatever the saying is.
Right.
Thank you.
Fire under your,
yeah. Thanks.
Pun intended. Not intended.
Right. Not literally. Thanks.
Thank you. All right. Happy Camp, Horse Creek.
You had the funnest update.
Do we have Horse Creek?
I don't know if we have Glenn on here.
Glenn is here.
Oh yeah, Glenn's on here. Glenn, you got an update for us? There he is.
Hi. No update from Horse Creek. So I'll reach out to the local Fire Safe Council people and try to remind them to participate in this big meeting here.
Thanks, Glenn. Okay.
Actually, that did we? I don't think we've made an official announcement about Glenn coming on the Fire Safe Council board, have we?
We didn't. I was not at the last meeting, so I missed that. So I don't think we have.
I don't think we have. Have we, Giselle?
No, so let's announce it. We now have
let's
another
keep it
board
secret.
member. We welcome Glenn Jystad, and we've already had one meeting with him in person. Awesome man, really like him, and he has so much wisdom, or I felt like he shared a lot of wisdom. So we're more than pleased to have Glenn on the board. Thank you, Glenn, for joining us.
Oh, thank you guys for inviting me. We're new to Siskiyou County 3 years ago, but had kind of a baptism of fire with the McKinney fire our second summer here, and we just kind of have jumped in to do what we can to help with the community. And so being a part of the Fire Safe Council for Siskiyou County is really an exciting opportunity to see what's going on across the entire county, and recognizing that there is so much work that needs to be done with an ever-present danger of fire, and that no one's going to do it for us, and it's up to those of us here in the county to get organized and to get get working. And thankfully, you know, the grants are showing up, that there are resources, but there is still an awful lot of work ahead for all of us here. And I feel honored that you guys have asked me to help come alongside and so that we can make a difference here.
And we're happy to have you on board. Thank you, Glenn.
Yeah. And just for everyone who probably doesn't know what a rock star Glenn is, because he's obviously not tooting his own horn, he was a very big spearheading driving force for getting the McKinney Fire Long-Term Recovery Group going, and is very, very involved with that. And that's actually how I met him and said, hey, when we're looking for board members, I think this guy would be really great. And it'd be awesome to have that connection with, you know, Yvonne Ray is on here from Klamath River. And she's really awesome about coming to these meetings. We're grateful for that. And she's involved with the McKinney LTRG as well. But just having those river communities represented here is super important. So we're grateful that Glenn took the bait and jumped on board with it. And Yvonne actually put a comment in the chat asking what the, yeah, so if you want to speak to that, Jamie, she's asking what are all the current board members for fire.
Thanks, Kristen. I did see that. Glenn is our newest one. We also have two other really new board members, and Carolyn Napper, who just logged off to go to another meeting. We snagged her as soon as she retired from the Forest Service before other people grabbed her. And so she got to say yes to us first. And so we're very excited. She was the district ranger for the SMU, for the Shasta McLeod unit there for the Shasta T. And then Stephen Richardson is from McLeod and another new board member, and he's retired CAL FIRE. And then believe
he's also been the head of the McLeod Fire Safe Council.
Fire Safe Council, correct. And then we have the older board members are Perry Daniels, and he's in the Scott River area. And then Kelly Connor, who is been with us for 20 some years, and he is now retired from private timber industry and is still staying on the Fire Safe Council. And then myself. So those are our present members. Okay.
Thank you so much for that.
Oh, you're welcome, Yvonne. So we'll get back to the Klamath River Fire Safe Council. Do we have anybody here?
That's me.
Hi.
Hi. Okay, yes, I have some things to report. So after the last County Fire Safe Council meeting, Josh Rivera from Shasta Valley RCD reached out and was interested in finding out if I could help him with landowners in the McKinney Fire burn scar who would be interested in seeing if they would qualify for reforestation and fuels mitigation. So I invited him down here to Klamath River, and we had a face-to-face meeting. He told me all the details about that particular project and that grant that he has current funding for. And then it was a really good meeting. And so then I invited him to the McKinney Fire Long-Term Recovery Group meeting, which he attended, and he also gave a presentation or a quick overview of the program and got the backing of the McKinney Fire Long-Term Recovery Group to help reach out to the landowners. So that was quite a successful networking, I suppose, to call it. And I have also been reaching out to people that I know along the river who I think would be good candidates for that program, as well as easy to work with, because Josh said that landowner agreements were going to be the hardest part. That's what he felt. So I thought, okay, well, I know some people who are pretty, easy to work with, and let's see if we can get some things rolling. So that was really nice. And then in the process of that, there is, well, I in my neighborhood, as well as another community member, are interested in Firewise communities here in Klamath River. So we are at the very beginnings of our discussion and are soliciting or, can anybody help us? That's where we're at. So we're going to start talking with our neighbors. I got the information from the last meeting and of course have studied the brochures and things. So I'm just going to start talking with my neighbors up and down the area where I live and see what we can do. The distance between where one neighbor, I'm calling it a neighborhood, it's not really a neighborhood, but since it's rural, as you guys know, but out here in Klamath River, so are quite a distance apart. So I don't know if the two of us could be one Firewise community or it would be two different ones. I don't really know. So that's where
It's
we
very
are.
limited. You can pretty much, there's no geographical parameters as to how big or and how far apart people, and you can make, it's totally up to you guys for logistics of what will be sustainable and manageable for your community.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And then I reached out to Joshua Bean and he graciously said, yes, will talk to you. I'll be whatever assistance, So we've got the conversation started. And the Fire Safety Council itself is in a rebuilding phase because most of the people that were the board members, etc., are gone. So I'm holding the intention to have some people come along. But with the long-term recovery group, the resources really, I think, of the people need to go there first. So I'm grateful that you guys have are here as a resource from the county. So I really appreciate that. And Glenn, also, I appreciate so much that you joined the board of the county Fire Safe Council, our neighbor in Horse Creek.
Thanks, Eva. We're all pieces of this puzzle trying to make something better, right?
Yeah. And then the other one other success story I would say is a young man. I think I talked about him last year. College age young man who grew up in this area. He's joined the Hot Shots this year. His first year on engine was last year, and now he's here at Oak Knoll with the Hot Shots. And then I have one more thing, which is the Klamath River Fire Safe Council was invited to the Klamath River Hose Company's board meeting because they are interested in putting firefighting water tanks in various places in the Klamath River, Horse Creek, this general area for firefighting. And they wanted to collaborate with the Fire Safe Council. So we attended the meeting and got that conversation started. They're going to apply for a grant.
Great. That's great news. And as a little aside on the long-term recovery, in my mind, is I saw the start of the building of the community center, and I saw pictures of it, and that just thrilled me. That was great.
Yes, I actually attended with some of the people here for the groundbreaking. It was a very small, informal celebration where they took a picture of the check with the Family Forward Foundation grant. But it was really nice. It's one of those days where you feel the progress, and it's really important for the community, and appreciate you mentioning that. But yeah, I did. So those are all my things I have since I last saw you guys.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right. So do we have anything from Lake Shastina?
Oh, yeah, they finished their project that they've had going for over 4 years now, several hundred acres of fuel reduction for ingress and egress. That final report's been submitted to CAL FIRE and we've wrapped that one up.
Great. Okay, Lower Scott River's not here. McLeod not here. Mount Shasta.
Well, we have a couple of little fuel reduction grants going and we're working on Old Stage right now. We're also working along I-5. Well, that's really a Caltrans thing, but it's in the Mount Shasta area for a CEQA for Caltrans to do mitigation on their right-of-ways from the Azalea overpass all the way to Edgewood. And that's kind of what we've got going on there.
Thank you. Orleans, we don't have anybody, I think. Quartz Valley, do we have?
Oh, I was gonna chime in on behalf of Orleans Sombar. They contacted me and invited us to come out for as far as I understand it, first ever elementary school outreach, a youth education fire event, fire education event rather. And so we're going out to do that on May 29th, and that's at the Orleans Sombar Elementary School. So that will be great to get out there and participate in that and take Wildfire Ready Raccoon and our core partners, Josh and Diane, will be out there with me. So that'll be great things to support that community out there.
Great. All right, Salmon River, Syad Valley.
Oh, I guess I'll chime in for Salmon River too, because they, the Salmon River Restoration Council also reached out the same time frame and asked us to come on May 30th, the next day, to their big Firewise event and then Fire Safe Council meeting, kind of a back-to-back marathon half-day event out there. So we'll be probably camping out on the river.
And I just saw that it's going to be at Cecilville.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yep. So so we'll be out there on the Salmon River for a couple days for back-to-back events. So looking forward to that.
Okay. So Wairika area, Jay, are you still with us?
Oh, I'm still with you, Jamie. I'm not the official spokesperson, but I can certainly bring you up to date a little bit on project to the north, which everybody has probably seen if you've traveled north. The fuel break, it's along the north side of town, and that's much of that's come to completion. But did some burning this last weekend when it was pouring rain on some of the piles that have been, and there's still more work to do up there. The other end of town, and by the way, the north end of town is the Shasta Valley RCD. We're the shakers and movers of that grant. At the south end of town, the Outson Road project, that's the CalOR RC&D who've put that grant together. And in the Outson Road, and George is busy signing up homeowners to do some home hardening and defensible space work around there. We also participated, this being Wildfire Awareness Week preparation. We set up a booth at the South Wairika Pancake Feed, and then the Wairika Fire Department had a open house last weekend. And then lastly, we'll be doing a little dog and pony at the Siskiyou Family YMCA, talking about home preparedness, much of what we've been producing every week, and do it a little bit more succinctly for some of the members of the YMCA. That should cover it, Jamie.
Kristen, would you like to talk about our June 1st event that we're going to be having at COS? Can you give an update on that? We forgot to announce that we're going to be doing an outreach.
Did you ask, are you asking me? I didn't hear you.
Yes.
Yeah,
Can you talk about that outreach, please?
Yep. So, and actually, Jay tracked me down at Stable Hands when my son was there for his horse riding, and we had a whole hour I was a captive audience, and we chatted about trying to do the same wildfire preparedness community education event that we're doing in South County in Weed on June 1st up in North County. And later on in July sometime. So we're going to start putting our heads together and working on making that happen. So that it was great to finally meet Jay in person. And so on June 1st at the COS Cal Fire, what do they call it? Training center. That's kind of on the back 40 of the COS Weed campus. June 1st, we will be having it's supposed to be for this week's national, community wildfire preparedness week, but when we did it that time frame last year, it was not successful, so we pushed it back to hopefully get more folks to show up, and we will have snacks and coffee and pastries and great partners from all the agencies, Forest Service, CAL FIRE, have some engines there. And what else am I forgetting? I think Julie, there, thank you. I was just gonna say, if Julie's still on here. Oh, she had to jump off, that's right. Thank you, perfect timing. So there is the poster that our amazing diehard volunteer Julie Titus has created for us, and she's been the real driving force behind this event and doing a lot of the networking and coordinating. So we're super grateful for her. So 10 a.m. to 1:30 Saturday, June 1st. And you don't have to register. Show up even if you don't. And it's gonna be a lot of good information, a lot of science, but also practical implementation. And is that everything? The great little QR code. So these will be up on our website and Facebook pages, and then we are looking into doing a mailer for these to get more people to show up. So tell your neighbors, tell your friends, family to come have some free food and learn about the fire forecast and mitigation. Is that everything? You got anything to add?
That's it. Yep.
Okay, thanks for that. Yeah, we should have put that on our agenda. We missed that.
Yeah, missed it.
So, and then also I see we have a representative from Caltrans tonight, Tom March. Would you have anything to add this evening? Introduce yourself.
Hey everybody, Tom March, Caltrans, District 2. I work 7 counties in the North State, Siskiyou being one of them. Trying to coordinate, my job is to coordinate with maintenance to construction and trying to bridge the gap. And then I am a landscape specialist or arborist and pest control advisor working to also bridge the gap with communities. So we pushed maintenance to get up into the chronic area, or Carrick, sorry, to do roadside maintenance up at that area. Giselle and is working with CAL FIRE, working with us to work on our CEQA for the I-5 corridor that she had mentioned. Thank you, Giselle, with that effort. We've had a couple stumbling blocks as well as construction going on there, which has stalled our efforts, but we're ready to go as soon as we can. And looking towards efforts on maintaining what what our partners have done with us as well, with Shasta Valley RCD and Siskiyou Fire Safe, with the Dunsmuir CHP area fuel reduction there, as well as our Azalea to McLeod we're working on that maintenance, trying to create a plan for that. For that, that's pretty much it right now, that I have on my plate. I don't have an update from our maintenance staff. It's pretty tough to do. Like I said, I have like 25, 26 different crews, and to be able to track every one of them, it's mind numbing. But I do want to hear from communities on, especially, fire scientists, the fire professionals that recognize locations where we can partner. You guys get your side of the fence, we get ours, and hopefully tie in a chain of defensible space. So I appreciate you having me here. And that's pretty much all I have.
Okay, thank you,
Tom.
Tom.
You're a great partner. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
And did I miss anybody else tonight who would like to have time to comment? I don't want to forget or gloss over anyone.
Hi, it's Christian Jordan with UC Cooperative Extension. I don't have any updates, but I just wanted to commend the folks who led the prescribed burn tour at the Gateway this morning. That was, I think, a great event for the community, and just really positive. So thank you, Brian. I know you're here tonight. Honey, of course, Honey Myers, but thank you.
Great, Kristen. Glad you could be out there. All right. If nobody else has anything, our next meeting will be June 12th, and hope to see you all there.
And we will report back on what we hear from Lisa about your questions that she was looking at. And then we will have Annie Barber from the United Policy Holders group that is kind of, the watchdog defender of insurance, insured, us, the policyholders. And so she will be our guest speaker at the next meeting, June 12th. So do more research, get more questions, and come back next month for more insurance dialogue.
And thanks for everybody who came tonight and who stayed for the whole time. Appreciate it. All right, everybody, we'll see you then next month.